I want to begin by addressing some of the issues around the Mandelson case.
Not just a case, but a scandal. And with increasing fury on his own backbenches, the Prime Minister had little choice today but to change tact on a long-planned speech on the revival of town centres to the revival of his own political career. He started with a message to the victims of convicted paedophile Jeffrey Epstein.
To them, I want to say this. I am sorry. Sorry for what was done to you. Sorry that so many people with power failed you. Sorry for having believed Mandelson's lies and appointed him. And sorry that even now you're forced to watch this story unfold in public once again.
His defence, trusting a man who had already been forced to quit because of his own actions twice before.
Before he was appointed ambassador, Mandelson was asked directly about the nature of his relationship with Epstein. He was asked whether he had stayed at Epstein after his conviction. The information now available makes clear that the answers he gave were lies. He portrayed Epstein as someone he barely knew.
For his opponents, there is blood in the water. Kemi Badenoch barely waited for the Prime Minister to step off stage before taking to her own podium.
Instead of standing up and taking full responsibility for this disastrous appointment, the Prime Minister is trying to make himself out to be the victim. Nobody is buying it. This morning, Cabinet Ministers are out there defending the decision to appoint Peter Mandelson, still claiming that it was a rational appointment. They should be ashamed.
That Cabinet Minister this morning was Steve Reid.
The Prime Minister admitted yesterday that he did know that Peter Mandelson maintained a relationship with a convicted paedophile after he had been convicted of being a paedophile. Surely that in itself would have been enough to...
Peter Mandelson explained away that relationship as having ended long ago and having been, while it existed, next to nothing, casual, almost no relationship at all.
But wait a minute, during the election campaign, you promised to put violence against women and girls at the heart of what Labour achieves. Surely then, seeing that some fella who's decided to maintain a relationship with a convicted paedophile, regardless of how long he maintained it for afterwards, that person is not in line with your government's values. They'd just be ineligible for the job.
Peter Mandelson made out he knew nothing about those offences. He made out his relationship had been almost non-existent with Jeffrey Epstein.
Had been in
we
jail
now know
by this
that
point.
we now know that is not the truth.
The Reform UK leader Nigel Farage was in Newport this morning ahead of May's Senedd elections. His Welsh campaign aided by a national scandal.
This is far bigger than the Profumo scandal of 60 years ago. This is the biggest scandal in British politics for over 1 century. And I would predict pretty confidently, I said this yesterday, but I stick by it, I'd predict that Morgan McSweeney, the chief advisor, will be gone pretty quickly.
Morgan McSweeney is seen by many as the man who vied most vociferously for Peter Mandelson to be made US ambassador. Now the man many Labour MPs would like to see carry the can.
I think his whole team of advisors, we need to look seriously at whether they're fit to continue in place, and he could really do with having a clear out.
So can Keir Starmer survive this?
In honesty, no, I don't think he can. Cards on the table. I said back in November that I thought the Prime Minister should go because I thought that there have been so many mistakes that have been made and the leadership just wasn't listening. But this has certainly solidified that view.
Sir Keir conceded today he understood the anger and frustration of Labour MPs. Many of them are back in their constituencies tonight, wrestling with whether what was needed today was an apology from a Prime Minister or action from his backbenches.
I was in that room with the Prime Minister earlier on. The tension was palpable. You got the sense from the Prime Minister, from his team, that all of them understood the gravity of the situation, the peril that Sir Keir and his leadership is in. So he tackled it head on, which went down relatively well with some of his backbenchers. But, and this is a big but, many of his MPs say, look, when it comes to the big issues, Keir Starmer gets it wrong. This is morphed now. This isn't about Peter Mandelson. This is a question of the Prime Minister's judgment. When it comes to farmers' inheritance tax, when it comes to two-child benefit, when it comes to welfare reform, the Prime Minister gets it wrong. And where he ends up isn't a place of his choosing. It's a place where he's forced to be.
So what's stopping the Prime Minister's removal then?
This is more of a who than a how question, really. There are mechanisms in place. But what's been noticeable today is that despite all of the WhatsApps that we're all getting from angry MPs, very few people have ended up here on camera. You saw a couple in our piece today, but not many people actually wanted to come forward. Part of the reason is, who is the heir to Keir Starmer now? Well, Streeting was spoken about quite a lot. His name still gets spoken about, but that is a man who many see as the heir to Blair, as a man who was backed by Peter Mandelson. He has distanced himself from Peter Mandelson. Now he's condemned him. Angela Rayner still has questions about property tax hanging over her. So it's more of a question now of who is in place to take over from the Prime Minister. He's not stealing down the street because people love him. He's there because of a lack of alternatives.
Paul, thanks very much. Well, earlier I spoke to the Conservative leader, Kemi Badenoch, who told me that she didn't accept the Prime Minister's apology. And just to warn you, my interview does contain some offensive and misogynistic language.
He knew the depth of the relationship between Peter Mandelson and Jeffrey Epstein because it appears that he asked him about it. It came out in the security vetting. When I asked him at Prime Minister's questions whether this information was in the security vetting, he said yes. The Prime Minister is so self-righteous, he just can't bring himself to say, I made a mistake, I should not have appointed him. Instead, he's making it about the lies. Everyone knew that Peter Mandelson told lies. He'd been sacked from government twice.
Have you got any sympathy with him being lied to by one of his senior lieutenants? I mean, it's a bit like you being lied to by Robert Jenrick, isn't it?
No, because Robert Jenrick had not been sacked from cabinet twice for lying. Yes, he had been sacked from cabinet as it happened. But I would not have put someone who had had serious ethical issues raised, and I certainly would not have put someone who the security vetting had flagged that he was a close associate of a convicted paedophile.
You personally didn't make a fuss about it at the time, though, did you?
Well, others in the party did. I don't speak on every single thing on every single appointment. Ian Duncan-Smith did, Dame Caroline Downage did, so many others. The press raised concerns, but the Prime Minister is the one who makes the decision. I'm not in government. I can't be commenting on every single appointment they made. I did raise it when we started seeing more reports coming out in September. I did raise it. I asked the Prime Minister then. He didn't come clean then. And the truth is, the only reason why we know this is because I forced him yesterday to admit that.
Do you think you've got a scalp over this?
I think that someone should take responsibility. And what we're not seeing is anybody taking responsibility. They're all saying, oh, we were all lied to, we're victims too. No, I'm sorry. Keir Starmer is not a victim, and he should stop hiding behind Peter Mandelson.
You're going to get the documents soon relating to his appointment. We've seen reports that Mandelson tried to secure a Russian visa for Epstein. The Polish Prime Minister is investigating if Russia was deploying Epstein as a spy. Do you think there may be national security concerns at the heart of this?
I think there may be national security concerns about what Peter Mandelson did when previously in government, and who knows what else up until his appointment as ambassador. The police are going to investigate Peter Mandelson, but the Prime Minister's judgment has been shown now to be deeply flawed.
Should the police have any qualms about investigating under caution the former Prince Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor? He denies any wrongdoing, but should the police go where the evidence takes them?
Of course they should. I mean, the police should always do that.
Including a member of the royal family?
Well, I think that he should be treated the same as everyone else when this sort of case happens.
I'm sure you were as shocked as everyone else looking at the language used in the Epstein files about women, and I quote, the bitch, hag. What does it say about the treatment of women that powerful businessmen, politicians, even a member of the royal family can use that kind of language, that misogynistic abuse, really?
I think that those terms are disgusting. I think what it showed is people who think that they can do whatever they like and get away with it, that the rules don't apply to them. And what we need to see is justice for those victims, but also show that you can't behave like this and get away with it, especially when you have senior positions of responsibility or power over others, especially power invested in you by the state.
Is it a moment of reckoning for men in politics and business?
I think we've had multiple moments of reckoning. This shouldn't be about men or women. This should be about abuse of power. It doesn't matter the sex or gender of the person who is carrying out an abuse of power.
But it's women at the heart of this being abused.
Yes, certainly. In this case, it is women at the heart of it being abused. And as I said at Prime Minister's questions, we want to see justice for those victims. But it's interesting. The only person who's actually gone to prison around the Epstein case is a woman. It's Ghislaine Maxwell. I think that's interesting. A lot more people, I think, should be in the dock.
And do you think Mandelson should potentially go to jail over this?
Well, the police are carrying out their investigation. Let's see what comes out of that. But I think there's certainly enough evidence for a prosecution of misconduct in public office.
Kemi Badenoch, thank you very much.
Thank you, Kathy.